All right, we're back after a couple of weeks off. Really appreciate all the feedback that everyone's been giving me. Makes it even more fun to do these here and all that. This week, joined by Conor Macfarlane. He's in my top 5 favourite riders. Such a good bloke, and he even gave me some venison sausages after this podcast. What more do you want? Conor Macfarlane. Here we go. Right, we're back with another podcast. This time, stoked to do one with friend Conor Macfarlane. We're in his little humble abode, which he says he bought a few years ago. Looks pretty nice.
Yeah, cheers for having me.
But yeah, I'll let you take it away. So what's been going on lately, Conor?
I've just been working away lately, I guess. Being winter here, I've been doing, a couple of winter activities, not as many as last year. I sort of really dived into winter last year, being my first winter in 8 years. And this year I haven't been quite as pumped on winter. I've kind of wanted it to be summer so I can ride my bike. What would you call yourself, a free ride mountain biker? Yep.
But when you say you've been working, you're not been free riding, you've been building.
No, not bike. Yeah, so building.
Yeah. So you're full-time, for everyone that doesn't know, you're a full-time builder.
Yep. Do 44 hours a week normally. Although my boss, Rion, is pretty amazing and lets me go away whenever I have to do whatever. But generally speaking, I'll do 44 hours a week if I'm not away filming or doing a photo shoot or whatever. So yeah, and then biking's kind of on the side thing, I guess, which takes up a lot of time, but I love it.
Yeah, but that you were going to be shooting this week, but it's been crappy weather, so
yeah, we're supposed to be in Naseby shooting photos with Jay, and but yeah, big snowfall and torrential rain on Thursday, so and it's very clay based there, so
yeah,
have to postpone that.
Pretty slick.
Yeah.
But the last edit you did was the snow one, or was that the Cardi's? That one was pretty sick.
Yeah,
that
probably was the last.
Ago?
That was probably the last big one anyway. Yeah, and that was just being here over winter. It's something I've always wanted to do, ride on snow. So
yeah,
the Cardi's guys were good enough just to let me go up there and try it out. That
was pretty epic. Was that Is the crash you had in that video? Is that a crash separate to recording that video?
No, crash is separate. I think it actually was just a test run. I don't know if he had it on the good camera or not, but just leaned back a bit too much, buzzed my ass, and
that's on your Instagram. So you're hitting, that was the big line as well. That was the big snow free ride freestyle line at Cardi's.
Yeah.
Which you're riding on your mountain bike and you went to backflip it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'd done the run before, all good, and then just one of those things, you muck it up every once in a while.
Yeah.
But it's definitely snow is definitely a lot nicer, as you can imagine, to fall on. I mean, we only filmed when it was icy.
Yeah.
Because when it's not icy, you just can't really ride on snow that well.
But you didn't get any injuries.
Nah. So it's all
out of it.
Yeah, just slide out, and it's still softer than dirt. So I was quite thankful for that one.
Yeah. Sorry, I kind of interrupted at the start. So you've just been working flat out at the moment. You've been doing a bit of hunting. What else has been going on this winter for you?
Yeah, I've been just working, and then hunting is definitely a new thing I've got into in my spare time. I've always had a love for the outdoors, and it's kind of just given me more purpose, I guess. And we don't buy any red meat anymore, so that's a bonus. I only eat what I can get in the hills, so. I'm pretty into that, but
how's that then? Are you mainly vegetarian, or you're a pretty good shot?
Mate, the amount of deer around here is insane. So I think I've only been out once and not got anything.
Oh yeah. And how long does a deer last you?
I haven't run out yet, so there's always been something in the freezer. So
wicked.
Yeah, been doing pretty well there, and then obviously, I'm definitely not a vegetarian. I still eat meat and fish and a little bit of chicken and stuff.
Yeah.
But red meat wise. But then I've had hardly any free weekends. I've just been doing something. When I raced up in just above Conor there at Middle Hill. Yeah,
it looked like a goodie. That the guys there sound like legends.
Pretty amazing setup, awesome people, cruisy airs, good tracks. We kind of mucked up a little bit. We turned up. We looked at the time it started from last year. And so we turned up half an hour late, and our timing chips, we didn't get them started properly because we were in such a hurry. So we didn't get any times, but that was our fault. So, but it was good. And then
so you missed your start.
Well, yeah, when we turned up, everyone was leaving. You saw everyone riding up the hill. We were like, oh, what the heck? But I mean, it's such a cruisy place. They don't really care. It just happened to be that we kind of.
So there was no liaison times that one.
Nah, you just kind of drop in whenever you want. But that, and then been doing, been to the hills a lot. The odd full drive mission, bit of biking, bit of skiing. Not really much skiing, to be honest, but snow's been pretty average. But
it's coming down now though.
Should do a bit more of that.
You like a bit of ice climbing as well, eh? You've done a little bit.
Not really ice climbing. I've done a little bit of mountaineering in my time. Well, when I say a little bit, I've done a few peaks. My brother's, he's a qualified guide, and he's worked in the search and rescue team in Mount Cook there. So I just go with him basically because he knows what he's doing. So it's one of those things I enjoy. I love being up there and seeing the views and everything, but sometimes I think it's grade 2, which I like. As soon as you got to get roped up, it gets way too slow and too much faffing around, and I don't like faff, so I just want to, whatever I can walk up without a rope, I'm happy with that, and that's sort of the level I want to go to. And that's it.
I don't mind a bit I've not done any ice climbing sort of stuff, but I quite like the walks when you got to get ropes. I quite enjoy the
belaying and
messing around a bit more, and especially for coming down, it's a lot quicker. Coming down with ropes is a lot faster than trying to walk down.
I'm more than happy with that. It's just like when if you're say rock climbing and you've got bolts or whatever, that's fine, but as soon as you're out in the alpine and I don't really know anything about it, but the way they make anchors in the alpine, it sort of seems to take a lot longer, and I just want to
just get up there,
get going and get the legs powering away.
So is this because a lot of the videos you do, you're in, well, you got a few in the...
So I accidentally just give away Connor's secret location, which we're now going to refer to as Utah.
We had a bit, but... Well, I'm in Utah.
Yeah.
But do you use these hikes as a way to scope, or is it you just generally...
The hikes, not so much. It's more the full driving and stuff like that, which I use for scoping areas.
Yeah.
And that's definitely how I've found a lot of places. But I'm always always on the lookout. Whenever I'm going somewhere different, I'll be sort of looking at something. And it was a month ago or so now, I went for a full drive with Runga and found this massive sandy looking basin, sort of big scree.
Yeah.
Which is kind of hard to find. I mean, we didn't actually go right to it. It was kind of covered in snow, but from a distance it looked real fine.
Yeah, it's not big rocks.
Yeah, it was kind of hard to find around here, really. So
because we don't have that fine kind of nice,
it's normally a bit bigger,
powdery stuff. Yeah, it's quite gnarly when you get to it anyway. It's quite gnarly boulders, and you're
or you get you're at the top and it's all nice, then you get halfway down, it's kind of big, and you get to the bottom, it's just deadly.
Huge.
So
yeah.
So always keeping an eye out, and so I'll definitely be going back there in summer, and use it for a video, hopefully, if I can get something going. And it's sort of hard to find enough, but then obviously you got to spend the time digging and whatever for some places, but it's definitely another thing I enjoy is a bit of digging, so it keeps you honest.
You did get in trouble though once, didn't you?
I did get in trouble, yeah.
You happy to talk about that?
Yeah. No, we're good. I mean, I kind of knew I was going to get in trouble. Well, I knew I wasn't really allowed to. I probably shouldn't be going where I was, but I was whatever, I'll test the waters. And digging away, did a couple of years, a couple of different films in there, and then what actually alerted them to it was, I got on 3 News for going to Rampage.
Yeah.
And they used some of the footage from the video, and then one of the people from the local dock office, they were like, I know where that is. And then the enforcement officer, I was actually overseas at the time, because they played it a couple of weeks for Rampage or whatever, so I was already overseas. The dock enforcement officer, he rocked up to Rebecca, my partner's flat, and was like, where's Conor? Rah, rah. And it was actually their flatmate at the time. He was the guy that answered it. And he's like, oh, he's not here. And apparently the officer was a bit, kind of a bit stroppy with him. And he's like, look, he's overseas or whatever. And so he left his card anyway. And then I emailed him. And, they'd obviously looked up my name on file and found out where my car was registered to or something. But,
okay.
yeah, and then so when I got back home, had a meeting with them, and yeah, I mean they weren't very happy, as you can understand, I guess. But
Yeah.
I mean I kind of knew it was coming, but the thing that it did annoy me about it was they said what they didn't like about it was that I was eroding the landscape, and which is like fair enough in most circumstances, but the landscape was caused by human erosion originally, so it's a bit contradictory. But I was like, I knew I wasn't really supposed to be doing it, so don't know if you don't try.
I think it's such a weird one because a lot of the landscape is just, or a lot of what they're trying to preserve is from the mining for gold here. What was that, like early 1900s?
Yeah, late 18 and early 1900s, yeah.
And that is just like, it's pretty cool, it's pretty cool, but to try and preserve that, it's just like, I don't know, greedy gold rush. And like, it's just as much scars on the land as anything else, and it's like, and you go in somewhere and there's a big coil of wire, and they're like, oh no, you've got to preserve that because it's all mining. I'm like, dude, that's somebody's trash that they just couldn't fuck to pull out of here.
Yeah.
They took 3 weeks pulling it and they weren't going to pull it out. It's just rubbish.
Yeah.
Like,
this day and age, you're
rubbish
getting
and crap.
you're getting shit for that.
Yeah.
For leaving it there.
Whereas like, they were dumping shit everywhere. Whereas what you're doing, and it's building like another legacy, which I think is way more admirable. Like mountain biking. And again, if you had everyone going crazy digging tracks, it would be a different story. But I think it's, I think if we look back on like a hill that's eroded from mining, and you're like, oh yeah, this is where 20 people died because one man wanted to get rich off some gold.
Yeah.
Or this is a hill where Conor Macfarlane made a video, took him to Rampage.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
and I'm like, what's a better story?
Yeah, it definitely, it's history in its own right, isn't it?
I'm a bit biased.
But I'm definitely biased as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they actually, the enforcement guy, he was like, we can do you for, I can never remember which way around it was, but it's either 2 years in jail or $100,000 or $200,000 and 1 year in jail. But that's what they can legally do you for, because it comes under the same thing as like a motorbike or a full drive wrecking an area.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I mean, they were like, "We're not going to do you for it, but if you do it again, sort of thing, we could go down
that's pretty like
route." Yeah,
pretty heavy penalty.
Yeah. So, and I've like other people have wanted to go digging, in that area.
Yeah,
and
Utah.
I was like, I mean, I'm not going to stop you, but FYI, this is what I got, told.
Yeah.
So.
Don't make, because they'll think it's me as well.
They probably will think it's me. Yeah. I mean, it didn't help at the time as well. Some little kids had built a part, like a gap over like a walking track in Albertown.
Yeah.
And I think there was almost a walker got hit by it, like real like blind, like you come out of some bushes over the track in the bushes, and so they're pretty angry about that. So they're obviously having a wee clamp down.
Just
which I mean is fair enough, but I'd still rather be allowed to dig.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's all within. I guess it's all part of it. You with this, like you look at skateboarding, and they go and get tackled by security guards, but I guess they're not getting a $200,000 fine in a year in jail for it.
No, well, I mean, if they, if they went down that route,
but I think it's kind of like a cool part of the sport in some respects, but in other respects, it would just be nice if you could just.
Get
go
away
and do
with
it, and nobody and everyone just appreciated what you're doing.
I never really know like where where I'm allowed to and where I'm not allowed to. Like maybe I should look into it more, but I just assume I can until if it's public land. I'm
ask
like,
for forgiveness,
wow.
not permission.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm like, I don't know if that's some people would say it's the wrong attitude, but that's my attitude. I just want to be able to do it.
Yeah, well, it's definitely get shit done.
Yeah,
otherwise
exactly,
you're always just wait. Somebody's too scared to say yes, and don't really give you a good reason not to. But they just say no because that's easy.
Yeah, well, they don't know. I did actually ring up. This was earlier this year. I rang up this guy that owns this land, and I was like, "Look, there's this perfect spot to build this like big gap over it. So it's a track that's been made for a sewer line." Mm-hmm. And so it's a big cut, and it's maybe like a 20 foot, right? Like it's a big step down, whatever, or medium sized step down. But and I was like, right, I know it's private land, because I actually built somewhere on that guy's land back in the day, thinking it was public land.
Yeah.
And then he came. This is like way back when it was like tiny little stuff.
Mm.
Like before I, was sponsored up pretty much. And yeah, and he like came and had a chat, and he's real good and whatever. So I was like, oh, I want to build this other thing. I reckon it'd be mint. And then so I rang him up. Well, no, so I rang him up, and he's like a real old dude, and he was unsure if it was his land because he's just subdivided this massive area, and he's like, oh, we had to give the council X amount of land for this and that, and he's like, oh, I don't really know if it's my land or council land, and I was just like,
if I go and build it,
I was like, I'll just ring the council, and if they say yes, I'll build it. And he's like, yeah, sweet. And obviously I never rang the council, but
yeah,
so that is, I did actually ask that one time, but I don't really get results, so I normally just go ahead and do it if it's. But that's because it was private, so it's a different thing. I don't really build on private land because it's not.
Yeah, we're definitely not telling people to go and just build trails willy nilly.
Yeah.
Talk to your local bike club and see what they can get. Sort of thing.
Yeah, we were building when I was studying in Dunners. Me and this guy Cam built set of dirt jumps there, kind of in the woods. It just started off as a step up, and then it kind of went like below. Then we went up the hill as well, and got kind of big. And we got found out because it was like right by the downhill tracks, and they took all our tools and they left a note saying come to the local bike shop. So we did, and they're like, you're not really allowed to do that without permission. You got to go through the club and go to the right avenues. And the guy was just like, but to be honest, that would take you a couple of years going through the legal hoops. So just go and do it and ask for forgiveness later. Yeah. But he just wanted to talk to us. But he just I was like, thanks. It actually worked out real good. He just had to tell us.
Yeah.
To cover his ass, I guess. So.
Yeah, I think it's. Yeah, I think it's pretty. Again, I'm too biased, I think, to give proper opinion, but I just want to see bike tracks.
Yeah, exactly.
It's made, and then people should just. I don't know. You can easily kind of restore it normally if you're that pissed off.
Yeah.
But I think it's always kind of for the good.
Yeah, you just gotta be smart as well. Like, obviously, don't come out in someone's backyard or like. Anything silly like that. So
I think it goes both ways for anyone that's wanting to go build a trail. Like, because what really pisses me off, obviously working in the bike park, is when somebody builds a skid line and it's so damn obvious off a trail, and I'm like, dude, of course this thing's gonna get closed because it's eroding our actual trail. Plus, this trail's shit. Go and build a good one. Yeah, exactly. Totally stealth, and I won't touch it. Like
and a skid line off. Hammies say, which is like the easiest track on the hill. You don't want, obviously it's super easy to see, and then you don't want someone just being like, oh, there's a track. Oh, when they're not necessarily up to.
Down there,
if it's going to be a hard, if someone's building a skid line, it's generally a bit harder, and you don't just want someone being like, oh, I'll just, skid off the easiest track down to there, and then it's be way above their grade. And...
Well, also it's better for the builder as well, because then if you make it stealth, no one's going to find it.
Yeah,
because everyone gets salty when they build a pirate trail and then they're not the first to ride it. You're like, well, of course you're not, because you made it freaking
it's obvious.
So obvious to find.
Build
a secret one.
Yeah.
And you'll be the first one to ride it, and you'll probably be the only one to ride it as long as you don't tell Dave Z.
Well, yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, if you build it secret enough, and the only people that are going to ride it are people that you tell, and then obviously they'll tell more people. But
that's kind of the nature. And then by that time, it becomes legit anyway, and everyone's happy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm stoked. We built a track over lockdown, and I'm stoked for people to ride it. Like, I don't want to be the only person to ride it. I'll just get covered in pine cones, and it's good. Obviously, you don't want to blown out, but
actually, like, as long as it's road not getting blown out, it's like actually helps it pack in really.
And then if it was built properly, it won't get that blown out. You got to put a lot of laps down a track to blow it out when it's built properly. So. Yeah.
No, lockdown was good for that, I think it was amazing. Like across the world. Everyone just took. So we actually went to do a bit of digging, and I got my tools. Me and my housemate. And we went out the door, and we literally left the house, and we walked down the road for about a minute, and a freaking police car drove past, and she was like,
"What are you doing?
Where are you guys going?" And we're walking in the Wynyard direction. I was like, "Oh, we're just going to go and do some trail maintenance on Wynyard." She was like, "No, you can't do any work through lockdown." And I was like, "Oh, it's okay. we're not getting paid for it. She was like,
Oh.
no, you can't do any work. I was like, but it's exercise. She was like, go home, boys. I was like,
Seriously?
a minute from leaving the house. Got turned around. And then, so we walked, back to the house with a towel between her legs. And then we saw the car, go around the house and down the hill. And then we're like,
That's us. We go.
all right, well, let's just go back.
Yeah.
Just ran with our tools the second time. We're like, we're not getting caught this time.
Yeah.
And then just ran into the hills and
Yeah.
it was all.
Yeah, we had the same thing up. Well, I had the same thing up Remarks, which is a couple of K to the bottom of the road. I'd just bike up there instead of Franklin Track for a bit of fitness.
Yeah.
Because there's way less people, but then they shut that down because they're like, you're too far from home.
Oh, is that the Remarks?
Yeah, just the access road.
Yeah, I saw the sign on that. Yeah, it was like, turn around, you're too far from home. And I was like...
I'm like, yeah, but there's so many people on the Franklin Track, so I'd rather go up Remarks.
Yeah.
But, I mean, not that it really stopped people, but...
No. But it looks like everything seemed to work, so...
Yeah.
We all came together as, what was it, 5 million person team?
Something like that, yeah.
Bloody did well.
It's hard enough to get bloody a rugby team working together, let alone 5 million. So,
so yeah, we went good.
Yeah.
Steered a bit off course there. What was I going to ask? Oh yeah, so got in trouble with digging, but you were away while you're digging, and the reason you were away is because you made the video to get to Rampage.
Yeah.
And then you got to Rampage.
Yeah.
And that was was that the first time you went to Rampage, or?
That was the first time, yeah. Yeah, so that was, I can't even remember what year that was, to be honest.
Was it 16, late 16?
Must have been around
it was
then,
after Kelly passed away.
It was.
I think.
Oh, no, it was his last year of Rampage.
Was
it? Was
it?
my first year, yeah.
Okay, and then you and him competed together, did you?
Yeah, well, yeah, we were against each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome you got to do that. I thought you went the year following.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah. So that was kind of like, the first year I went was like the year, I guess it was the first year he was kind of like, you could tell that he was like, he was like, this is gnarly. He'd just come out, he'd just had some injuries, I think, and he was like, he's like, I'm sick of being injured. He's like, I'm not going to do anything, super gnarly.
He had the worst luck.
Yeah, he had some...
Because it wasn't always him, it was his freaking wheels.
Yeah, or his brake, he had the brake fell on him in the steer race.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Gnarly. Yeah.
So was that the injury he was coming back from, or was it... Because that was a huge... but it wasn't through him.
Which one it was he was coming back. Yeah, but he was definitely like, I'm sick of being injured. And he's like, he still did a pretty decent run down and does like a massive flip and down flip and a few other things. So, but yeah, that was first year there. And
how was that the first time out, and then having Kelly there as a bit of a did he act as a bit of a mentor to you while you were there?
I mean, yeah, if I asked him a question, he'd help me out for sure. Not like I guess I'm quite a self-sufficient sort of guy. I just,
I think
if there's
that's
something I don't figure out, I'll
just
chug away. I mean, maybe it's not the best way to do it, but it's just my personality, I'll chip away until I get it. But, it was a second year of one venue, which always makes it a lot harder. So you come in and all the good stuff's taken already, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to, first year being there, I had no idea really about how it worked. I just assumed that I'll be able to do that one jump because it's such an obvious place to build a jump. Why wouldn't you? But it's already there.
Yeah.
Someone will let me ride that, and then I'll go build this bit here, and then I'll be on someone's track at the bottom,
and everyone was like.
But it's kind of not how it works. Some people were good about it. Some people were bad.
Yeah. Who's the worst? Who's the biggest dick at Rampage?
I don't know.
Carl Strait.
I don't know. I've never had an issue with Carl. I've never been near his lines, but I don't really know if I want to name names. But there's definitely one guy that was a bit of a cock to me one year. It was my...
What does his name rhyme with?
I don't know, actually. It doesn't really rhyme with me. It doesn't rhyme with anything.
It's not like second name's not Purple, is it?
No. But no, I mean, it's not too... It was... my first year was the year where there was, heaps of issues. And then the next year, they went real hard on, being you can't say, or, real hard on getting people to work together, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
And it was so much better the second year I was there. The first year it was it was kind of dramas all over the show. So
Was that the year when was the first year when Bernie was there, and was he just like?
Bernie was there, yeah.
But he was just sending out
Yes,
fake text, just like pretending,
yes.
like
What was that one
stirring
about?
the pot.
Oh, that was Logan Bengali, yeah, and he's saying, what did he? Because Bengali, he didn't give a fuck. He'd just write anybody's line. So Semenuk had this pretty cool step down into a drop, and I think he what it's saying on the step down, and like flip drop, and it was like when flip drops were like real new. There was only like maybe 3 people doing them on downhill bikes.
Yeah.
And Bengali would like poach the line once. He just did, and he's like a local boy. It was pretty bad, really. But yeah, so Semenuk built these whoops before his.
That was a film section. Was that Into the Chaos?
That's a different year.
Oh, that was a different chaos.
Yeah, no,
Revel in the Chaos.
Yeah, no, that was the next year. I think his whoops were in someone's line.
Oh, okay.
But no, so he built these whoops. Well, they're not really whoops. They were just like mounds of dirt to stop Logan going off his drop.
Oh, really?
But Logan, like downhill boy, he just like plowed over them and did it anyway.
Skimmed him.
Yeah, but he didn't actually end up. I don't think he ended up doing that line in his run anyway. But yeah, so then, can you remember how it goes? Did he make a fake account or something on Pink Bike or something? Or there was something. Oh no, email. He made a fake email address, and because we had
such a wind-up.
we had a rider's an email that would get sent to all the riders. And
everyone like CC'd in on?
Yes, it was everyone CC. Like Zink, Semenuk, me, Kelly, everyone. And he just made a fake email address.
Did he reply all? Is it?
Yeah, replied all. And it was like, he made this fake, like, loganbengali@gmail.com. Made a fake email address and replied all. And it was saying something about, like, it doesn't even matter, I'm going to beat everyone anyway, or something like that. I thought it was legit until, like, Bernie was like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty classic. But Bernie's line was gnarly, actually.
Mm.
It was pretty tech.
Yeah, I think I might have been in one of the other podcasts we did, but I think people. Oh, it was with Peng actually, but I think you forget how good Bernie is on a bike because he's such a. I don't know.
Pretty amazing.
Such a weird personality.
Yeah, well, he's just froths, he just rides the bike so much.
Yeah.
That it's kind of hard not to be good if you're naturally talented and you ride your bike that much. You're going to be at the top of your game. So
yeah. But he can. He's like one of those guys that can kind of throw his hand to anything on the mountain bike and fit in pretty well.
I think now, like, if he was to be invited back now, he'd do way better than he did back then. Because like he's been it seems like he's been doing more jumps and
we won Hardline last week or the week before.
Yeah.
Which
is 3 times now, is it, or something?
Yeah, I think that's the 3rd time he's won
Pretty
it.
impressive.
Have you ever got the invite to that one?
Sven asked me once if I wanted to go, but yeah, I mean the jumps. Being in the air is fun. Some of the jumps are a little bit jank, if I'm honest. But I'm not that speed of racing. Like if it was an enduro with jumps, I'd definitely go to it. Because I don't know, I just don't seem that fast down a racing. But then as soon as it comes to doing enduros on the trail bike, I seem to be able to do it right. I don't know if it's like because I'm better at going that I don't go 100. I don't really ride 100%.
Yeah.
I always ride like 95, whatever.
Yeah.
So I find it real
like a consistent.
Yeah, I find it real hard to tap into that last bit.
Yeah.
So maybe it's something to do with that.
But maybe that's where Hardline would be good for you because I think there's a lot of Well, did you see who? Oh, what were the names? There was a couple of free ride boys riding it this year.
Yeah, Vinny T was there.
Yeah, Vinny T and what was it?
Thomas Janon.
Yeah, they're the two. Yeah.
Yeah.
They actually had a bit of bad luck. Did they get mechanical?
A flat and something else. Yeah, Vinny is insanely fast. And I know Tommy G used to be, I think he was a BMX racer or something, but he's like real good on a downhill bike as well. So,
yeah.
But, I mean, yeah, maybe. It seems like quite easy to get injured as well. I know a few boys that have been injured at Hardline, so...
I think I don't know if they'll get much of a chance to ride jumps like that, No, they're not downhill style jumps. Although you might be able to jump 60 foot
long and low,
and lows, but big dirt jumps. Fest mini fest style sort of jumps.
In the middle of like a rock garden, and then a big Buddha, and then like a.
I think that would be like a bit of you, because you've won. Didn't you win the Rotorua Enduro a few years ago? at Crankworks? Were you in the Challenger class though?
Oh nah. I've got a top 10. I've got a few top 10s.
You got top 10s
at EWS stages, only stages and stuff. But no, I've never.
You never actually. Oh, I thought you did.
I've never done a Challenger. I don't think either.
Yeah.
I'd like to though. More chance of winning.
Well, there's a stat I fucked up, but either way. But you've always had like pretty good results when it's come to like technical riding as well. You're not just a freestyle.
Enduros, I've done well over the years. You know, like done plenty of good results and stuff. So, yeah. My one race though that I absolutely love is any mass start really, but Mega Avalanche.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that race. So it's sick.
I love the video of Deaconator
Almost
2 foot. What is it like spearing you?
Your ribs? He actually So it was like I got a bit carried away and I was going pretty fast, and we were coming into quite a sharp corner on the snow, and I just had the wrong foot off.
But was that a long straight?
It was a big steep downhill into a long straight.
Yeah, so it was a very long, fast straight, and then a tight left.
Yeah, and I'd somehow I'd got a real good start, and I was top 10 anyway, and I was like just pumped. I was like, yeah, this is me. And then I had my wrong foot off, like my outside foot, and I was leaning to the right, but I needed to be leaning to the left. And then
when snow grabs your bike, though, it just starts pulling you down.
Yeah, and
I can't
I just couldn't switch my weight. It all happened too fast for me to really. And I was just kind of panicked, I guess. And just went probably 60 k's an hour straight into this wall of ice.
Well, did they build that up as kind of a catch to stop people to direct riders? It was like a wall of icy snow.
Yeah, it's just beside. That's like where the piston bully had just gone and just pushed it to the side, I guess. And, just slammed into that, and that's what broke my ribs. But then I was just over the back of it, and because I jumped over the back, I tried to get back on my bike, and I was like, man, this is so sore, something's not right. Jumped over the back to get out of the way of everyone, and then I was watching, and everyone was just eating it. So I was like, oh, keep watching, and then Deacon just comes in and flies out. He actually only just brushes me.
Oh, does he?
Yeah,
I thought you
only just brushes me, but
But once you already got a set of broken ribs, it's not the best thing.
No, that's actually probably the most painful injury I've ever had, to be honest. Well, it was like the muscles in between the ribs were all busted and stuff, and.
Well, the ribs are a funny one. You don't even have to break a rib sometimes for it to be real painful.
Yeah.
You just damage the cartilage. It can be.
Yeah, so I think it was something kind of like that. But I've still got this massive bump on my ribs, which is really annoying. I can't, surfing sucks now. You can still do it, but
on your,
just rubs on the board. And but that was weird. They gave me, it was 25 milligrams of morphine. Or something they're like, oh, we wouldn't normally give people this much. And I was I was crying, man. I was like, I've had way worse injuries than breaking a rib. How's this sore? But it's just random,
But those things. You haven't had the best luck at mass starts. There was one of the Fernhill Frenzies a few years ago. It was Geordie bloody.
Oh, yeah.
Took you over the corner as well.
Yeah, well, that's just part of mass start, isn't it? You just inside it and.
At least we're always caught on film.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. If it's caught on film, makes it a bit better because then it's not in vain. It's you've kind of done it for, you've got something good out of something bad, so...
Yeah, it always makes up for it. If you ever have a big crash and nobody gets the video or photo, you're just like...
Yeah, but
all I got is a freaking 6 weeks off the bike.
Yeah.
Do you want another beer?
No, I'm still chugging away on this, cheers.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, what a waste of having a big crash if you don't get on film.
Yeah. Actually, talking about crashing, I wanted to go back to... So it must have been the second time you went back to Rampage then.
Yep.
And this was after Kelly passed away, and there was the
Spirit Award.
The Spirit Award, yeah. And then you ended up winning it.
Yeah.
I think pretty definitely deserving of it.
Pretty much because I was an idiot, but yeah.
But what was how was that week for you? Because you had some huge crashes, and then
it was...
I think most people would have just pulled the pin, but then you obviously it was pretty still fresh. I think for all the Kiwi guys with Kelly passing away, that I don't know, it just meant a lot to really turn up to that event for you. That seemed like
it was pretty. I mean, surreal sort of thing. Because obviously it was his, kind of his. He's the only Kiwi that's ever been there, until I got there, and he'd obviously done really well, and I'm, I like to live up to, what people think,
Yeah.
someone can do, or, down under. You're the only Southern Hemisphere person there and you want to go pretty hard and whatever. And it was actually the biggest jump on the hill. It was 52 foot and it was, the landing at the top was like a metre wide. Like, again, looking back, I'm like, it's kind of silly. Like, if I ever went back to Rampage, I'd build a line that's a lot safer. And not as because this was like, this is a tiny landing.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to ask, is you don't seem like the sort of dude that will get massively phased, and you're pretty, I don't know, you're kind of quite methodical, I guess, of how you do things, and you build it, and you know how you're going to ride it, and then that week, you're just trying to elevate. Did you go to prove a point and elevate?
Well, not really. Like, I thought I could do it. I built. So the two things I crashed on were I crashed on my drop, which I'd done a drop that big before, so I was like, all good. What's the issue?
Yeah.
It's still big, but it was like 45 or something on the angle. And then that step down, and the step down I was like, this is pretty loose, but there's no reason I can't do it. And I think I can't remember which one I crashed on first. Might have been I think I crashed on the step down first. And learned a very valuable lesson that day was rocks on the takeoff, because I just
you see quite a bit of that.
I landed like inches to the left of the landing.
Yeah.
And
so what you mean by that is like just small pebbles as a guide of direction, is it?
Yeah. So I normally do 3.
Yeah.
3 each side is my thing now, and they'll start wider and get skinnier and skinnier towards takeoff.
Okay.
And I know if I line that up, that's bang where the landing is going to be. So I had none of that, and because Rampage is blind as anything, which is a whole. If you can see if I'm, coming to take off and I can see the landing, jumps aren't that scary, right?
Yeah.
As soon as you can't see that landing and you're I've looked at this enough and I know the landing should be there. That's when it gets scary, because you're just going off your memory and you're like, I think I should be going fast enough. But then, as soon as you see the landing, you could be like, I'm going way too slow. Straight away, you'll know we're too fast.
A big flag, somebody with a big flag on the landing.
Well, that could work, actually.
If you want me to come on your dig crew next time, I'll just stand with a big backpack and a big flag.
On each, yeah, you're a tall boy. But so I ate it once on that, and then got back up, did it again, put rocks on it, and did it again, and got it mint. I was like, sweet. But so I was pretty beaten up from that, but I was all good. And then in practice, I think it might have been the next day or something. I was like, right, I'm going to tick off my drop. So I came.
But you were pretty beaten up already off that.
I was pretty sore, but I was compared to what I was like at the end, I was pretty fresh.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And then so I did this drop, and then I was like, oh, I'm going a bit deep, and stupidly, I don't know why, just there's a bit of time in the air. I was like, right, just land backward. Like a BMX, I might land backward or something. And I was like, I landed, and I was like, looking back, is the stupidest thing. If I'd landed 2 airs at once, it would have been absolutely fine.
Yeah.
And so I had this crash. I kind of just washed out when I slapped the front, and it kind of just washed it a bit. And just ate it, and I was like, my wrist was real sore, and got the physio to look at it, and they're like, oh, you should be right, but go get an X-ray. Went and got an X-ray, and they're like, nah, we think you're all good. Can't see anything. I was like, sweet. Next day, pretty sore, just took a bunch of painkillers and taped it all up and did practice, and then comes event day. I'm pretty beaten up, but I'm not real bad. I can still ride, can still hold on, and first run I just mucked the jump up before the step down a little bit, and I just didn't quite have enough speed. And I kind of knew I was going a bit slow, but I was like, oh, if I really pull up, I'll hope to be able to get it. I only came up a foot short or something, but it just it was enough for me to ride the front wheel.
But it was a steep landing, eh?
Yeah, reasonably steep, but then it flattened, and then there's a jump over someone else's jump.
Right,
And then just rode the front wheel, then just ate it, and I don't really I'd never had a concussion or anything until then.
Yeah.
And it gave me a good knock, but I didn't really think. I was like, oh, well, good, whatever. Thought it was, And then I was just chilling out down the bottom, and they're like, oh, Conor, your bike's up the top. If whenever you want to head up to do your second run. I was like, oh yeah, sweet. They're like, no pressure to do it, but I was like, I was talking to Bex, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I should or not. And I was like, oh, my bike's up there, you know, I may as well just go up.
But did you have the Magaza award in the back of your mind at that point?
No,
well? So that
not at
didn't
all.
play a factor. That was just for yourself.
No, well, to me, I thought the Magaza award was like, cause he was such a nice guy and so approachable and just yarns to anybody. And I'm not really I'm not a huge yarner, and you know, I'm definitely not as like approachable as he is. He's like a larger than life character, and I'm a bit more of a silent sort of guy. But so to me, I was like, that's more sort of like to someone who's sort of like that. So I didn't think about it at all. And I was like, all right, go up. Rebecca really didn't want me to go up for the second round. Like, she hates when I go Rampage.
Yeah, I can see that.
And that time, the second time I was there didn't help. But went back up to top, and then go to drop in, and there's this like little, what is it, 1 meter, 2 meter drop at the start. You don't even think about it.
Yeah.
And I just went off it and just fell sideways, boom, straight away.
Yeah.
And just had this huge rag, like ripped my elbow pads off, like massive cut on my elbow, and I was like pretty close to falling off these massive cliffs.
Yeah.
I mean, they had nets, so they would have stopped me, but and I was like, what the heck? And looking back, I was concussed as anything. I should not have been riding. I probably should have been tested, to be honest, but I don't think they had that then.
Well, what was that? Was that 2017 this year, or was this one 16?
Oh, I couldn't tell you, to be honest. I'd have to look at what date the award says. It might be 16.
Yeah, I feel like it.
Yeah,
because Kelly passed away in 16. So if this was
this must have been 16. Yeah, because he passed away Feb or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they gave me the award, and which is I was like just sitting there in the riders tent, just like beaten up as anything, just like black eyes and just whatever, just like a massive like bandage on my elbow.
Yeah, because you were obviously wearing a full face, and even through that you'd freaking
your
face
like
a pretty hard knot.
My goggles, like 'cause you push your goggles into your face, and that cut my eye, and then I was just in a bad shape, and I wasn't just last thing on my mind was Magaza, and then they're like, Conor Macfarlane, and I was kind of like, what? And someone's like, you've got the Magaza, and I was pretty battered up, and which is, I mean, it's cool to get something out of
It's not the way you want to do it though.
Not at all. But and then the next day I couldn't even do a sit up in bed. I was like lying in bed and I couldn't even sit up. Rebecca had to like lift. This is the sorest of like my whole I've had sore like one area, but my whole body was just
just beaten.
And then like I went back home, whatever, and I didn't go back to work for a while because my wrist was still real sore. I got it checked out again when I got home, and they're like, no, it's all good. Waited a couple of weeks, and I went back to work, and I was working with Jimmy P, and he was like, I'm a lefty, and it was my left wrist that was sore, and I was like banging in nails my right hand, and Jimmy's like, mate, like, because I was on gammy as, with my right hand. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, oh, my left hand's cooked, like I can't. He's like, if you can't swing a hammer, he's like, it'll be broken, like for sure.
Yeah.
And so he's like, go to this guy, Paul Nicholas, physio, and he's like, this is the guy I go to, who's awesome. And so I went to him, and straight away he did whatever, and he's like, get an X-ray, I reckon it's broken. Got an X-ray, he's like, broken.
So was that third X-ray it took to find it?
It was like it was the fourth health professional. And then so that was when I crashed on the drop. I'd broken it. Yeah. Which didn't help with obviously being able to hold on to the bike properly and everything.
No.
But, so that just added to me being beaten up. Did my MCL as well. I was in pretty bad.
It was a pretty
way,
serious. But I'd love to go. I don't think I'm quite happy to never ride it, but I'd definitely like to go to see it in person.
It's definitely if you see it in person, it's a lot gnarlier than because even the easiest thing on someone's lines, like you warm up on something that might be the biggest thing you're doing a normal you're warming up on like gnarly stuff, but it's easy because it's
it's also what's off the side of that.
Massive exposure.
It's I would like Hardline. I'd like to go there with the intention to ride it.
Yeah.
But Rampage, I'd just like to just go and see it, and then I'll tell you if I want to ride it once I think, because videos never do anything justice. Yeah. And I think Rampage has got to be one of the biggest things for that, and like you say, because of the exposure, that's what scares me is the exposure of the
Yeah, there's definitely some big. I mean, you look at Rogatkins crash that year.
Mm.
It was
That was
insane.
huge, yeah.
He's a whiff, and they just got back up and.
Carry
But
on.
like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty gnarly.
I'd
But the
love
bottom,
to.
you'd be alright at the bottom half. Like the bottom half plateaus out well in most areas, and it gets not too, not too much exposure. But the top half's generally pretty. How you going?
That looks gnarly. Yeah, that looks
Yeah,
sick.
yeah.
Shame was did you get injured before he went this year? 'Cause
Before,
It
yeah.
was a shame not to see him ride
Yeah.
this year.
Dude, he's been doing some gnarly. Obviously, he had that big crash. But he's doing some gnarly videos before that.
That step down he did. What was it? The last one, and that's
The
like slate.
Slate line.
Slate line and the ridge line.
Ridge line as well, yeah.
Both of those, and they're crashing out on the ridge line there because they look like
Yeah.
huge, massive blind.
Yeah,
Step downs.
like insane. Yeah, and no time between them as well.
Yeah, and that
Yeah.
crash when you just caught the edge of the grass there
Mm.
was massive.
Yeah, got back up from that one thankfully, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
G's such a legend. When you look at like how rounded he is as a rider.
yeah. He used to like when I was like just starting to buy magazines and stuff. He was doing like the Cash Guy Urban series or whatever,
yeah. I forgot
like
about that.
freeing drops and.
Mm.
I like remember in the mags like interview with him and he's like like talking about like does he pursue slopestyle or does he and like he was already a downer racer but he was like
Yeah.
quite good at slopestyle. So he's very well rounded.
Yeah, I think there's quite. It's a shame that he's quite kind of forgotten about when you watch the coverage now. You don't really hear much about him, but he's still to me one of the gnarliest riders that are out there. But I guess at the moment he's injured, so you can't see. But if
at the moment,
you started riding in the last couple of years, you probably don't know who G is.
Yeah.
And I think he's got to be one of the sickest guys.
Yeah. It's kind of like there's those guys that are like, the gnarly dudes that or like, it's like George, he'll do like this gnarly as gap, but he's such a chill guy. You wouldn't think that, there's just those guys that will do all the.
They kind of fly under the radar a bit. Huh?
Yeah. But they'll be like the first guy to like pioneer a gap or like something, you're like.
Damn. And now George can backflip as well.
Can he? Has he?
I think he's trying to Fiona Mulch.
Oh yeah,
That's
I
the
think
thing
he did
that a few
actually.
people
Yeah.
don't know. Which
He backed way back in the day as well. Do you see that?
Yeah, on that
Kind
video.
of a trick.
Well, yeah. Well, I don't. Yeah.
No, it wasn't. Yeah.
Can we spoil it for him now?
Oh, I think people know, or enough people know, don't they?
Well, if they don't know, so it was you on that video,
Yeah.
his Motorhead video. That was actually
Dressed up as him.
But how did you fit his clothes? Because you're obviously quite a bit taller than him.
I guess I was baggy enough to.
Just got away with it.
Yeah.
But now I think he can actually backflip now.
There's a bunch of the boys have just learnt this year, which is pretty cool.
This has been the craziest year in Queensland for people learning how to backflip. I think.
Yeah.
It's almost like you feel silly if you can't backflip now.
Yeah. Can you? Oh, you can backflip.
Haven't
you? You backflipped years ago, didn't you?
Yeah, and then I punctured my lung and I've not tried since.
Oh, right, yeah, fair enough.
I was just kind of it wasn't really me. It's not really.
Was
what I
that
do.
the top? Is
Yeah.
that where you punched your lung? Yeah.
Well, because I wanted to do it before Carson did it.
Oh,
Because Carson, remember when they first made that jump, Carson flipped it
yeah.
on his first go, and then the next year I was like, I'm going to flip that. And then me and Carson were up there, and we were just like jumping,
Yeah.
and I just got the feeling that Carson was going to flip it, so I was
So
like,
you're like,
fuck
I'll
this.
do
So
it
I just quickly snagged in front of him, flipped it, and I watched
Just
look at
nosed,
it. Well, no, I think I would have made it, but I got scared and thought I was going to nose, so I ditched my bike in midair because I'm still clipped in. Then I was like,
Oh, so you couldn't unclip when you just bailed?
no, I just bailed and then ragged, and I thought I just hurt my shoulder anyway. I was like, fuck. And I turned around, and then Carson was also binned it and was crashing down the hill. So I was like, I might actually still be able to do it before him.
Yeah.
But then I was like, my shoulder was like too buggered, and then
Found out
punctured the
later.
lung as well. And then he went and obviously nailed it on his second.
Yeah.
But I was like,
How did you just have a sore stomach or something, or?
no, I didn't feel it for probably about 15 minutes. But then like when it hit me, I was like,
Something's not
I was
right.
like, something internal is buggered.
Yeah.
And I must have blown my tire off like the bead a bit when I crashed. So I was riding down. The medic was like, "Look, stay here, blah blah blah," and I was like, "Look, I've got to go."
Down,
so I started riding down, and as I was riding down, my tire blew off the rim.
Do you have a rag or nah?
I can't remember now. I really can't remember because I was just all I cared about was getting down. And
Yeah.
Nathan Greenwood actually stopped, and he was like, "Jimmy, take my bike."
Get-
You're fucked. I think I was like fully. I think I got fully pale, and then I got to the bottom. Alan Burkett gave me a lift to the hospital,
Yeah.
and then it takes ages. So anyway, I signed in. I was like, "Yeah, I'm buggered." Blah blah blah, and I was waiting for about 45 minutes, and after that, the pain had gone away.
Yeah.
And I went to the reception desk, and I was like,
I'm all good.
I'm actually fine. So I was like, I don't want to like be a hassle.
Were you still waiting then in the waiting room? Or?
Yeah, and I was like,
Jesus.
oh, can I just leave? Because I knew there was the party and
Yeah.
the dream session going on.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to get back to the party at least. But she was like, oh look, you're here now. You may as well
Get checked out.
You may as well get checked out. And I was like, all right. And then it turned out punctured lung.
Good,
and
you
I was
didn't
like,
get checked out.
Okay. Well,
Yeah. Although I mean, they don't really do much, do they? For
they put a little pipe in.
oh, they did drain it.
Yeah,
Oh, it was bad enough to. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I no broken ribs or anything. It just punctured lung. So it was quite a nice weekend actually. It was quite relaxing.
Crazy.
That's enough about me though. Where were we on you? Where were we talking about you?
Talking about me eating it at
Oh
Rampage.
shit. Well, I wanted to go on from Rampage onto other events. Fest Series is obviously one that you've featured quite highly in over the last few years.
Yeah.
How was that? How many times have you done it? 3 times
I've
or even
done
more?
Loose Fest 3 times, Royal Fest once, and Hillbilly Huck Fest once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So whose are those? So the Loose Fest is Nico's.
Yeah. Royal Fest is Nico's.
Oh, is Royal also?
Yeah, and then Hillbilly Huck Fest is Mackin's.
Mackin's.
Yeah. Who's one of the so I think this was like the first I guess there was like Anti-Days of Thunder and stuff in Norway and it kind of grew from there from my understanding, and I think Mackin's was kind of one of the first where they got all the fist sort of boys I think together, and then it obviously grew from there. But I mean, for me, Royal Fest was cool. It was pretty big, but Loose Fest is just like
outrageous.
Oh, it's amazing.
So that's happening at the moment.
It is, yes. Yeah.
Would you? What stopped you from going over? Is it just the bubble sort of?
Yeah,
stuff?
pretty much just the bubble. I can't to me, sitting in a hotel for 2 weeks, it seems so boring. I hate sitting.
It's not worth the payoff.
Yeah, for me, it's not worth the payoff. And if I go overseas, I want to be able to. I mean, maybe it is fine over there. I've been talking to Remy, and he's like surprisingly, it's actually it's not as different as you'd think. I thought it'd be quite locked down, you not to do much, but
it seems like they're just trying to limit it, not necessarily because we're still trying to eliminate it completely from the sounds of it.
Yeah, they're just
but they're trying to live with it a bit more.
Yeah, which I guess they kind of have to now, don't they?
Which I don't know, seems pretty.
Yeah, I mean they've had it for
so
long.
Got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. So
anyway,
but yeah, I was like, because I want to go over there and be a tourist as well as ride my bike. I want to 2 birds, 1 stone. And I was like, well, I probably can't do that as easily. And last year Rebecca and I were going to go over and buy a van, just cruise around for ages, and then obviously COVID, so I didn't do that. And then this year, I'd like to ideally if Rebecca could come again and go to the same, but then it's we just don't really know how much is going to be open, and then events wise for me, I'm like, there's not enough of them lined up in a row to make. I'd have heaps of downtime between. I'm like, what do I do? What's going to be open? And I think it would probably end up being all right by the look of it. But I mean, I didn't really know, so I was like, I'll just stay at home.
Well, they're not going anywhere. The events, they're going to be there when things do open.
Yeah, exactly. So I still think COVID is still going to be a thing next year, I imagine. But I
don't think that's disappointing.
I think everything's going to be a lot more. It's just going to be part of. You're just going to have to deal with this as part of life. It's going to be sort of thing for a while maybe.
Yeah.
And I've got my first vaccine, so that all helps.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really want to go overseas without it, but I didn't have to.
Yeah.
I'd rather not. The thing, getting COVID, whatever, it's probably not that bad for a young, fit person like me. I mean, maybe it will be, but it would be. But the thing that I would hate about it, if you got it, is they say you can lose lung capacity or lose I don't want to lose lung capacity. I love getting out there and punishing myself and putting myself in the hurt box and being able to go fast and. I don't want to lose lung capacity and be slower on the bike or running or walking.
Yeah, well, you've only got one body, so you may as well look after it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
I'm actually trying to put a bit more money into. Look, I went to a chiropractor the other day, and that's a story for after this. But that was freaking.
I've been to the chiro
awesome.
as well, and some people hate it, but it worked for me. So
yeah, it was wicked.
Yeah,
but you've only got one body, so you may as well look after it best you can.
I mean,
especially when doing.
Yeah, we thrash
what we
them,
do.
don't we? So,
it's kind of a bit contradictory, but if you can do the little things, then you can do what you love for a bit longer.
Yeah, it all helps.
But back to Loose Fest. So, you did you get the best trick a couple of years ago?
I think I've got best line one year and then best trick the next year.
How was the best line? Because surely everyone rides the same line.
So it's pretty much who does the best things down the line.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
top
so-
to bottom best.
Yeah,
Almost
yeah.
best run.
Yeah, best
Yeah.
run pretty much.
Mhm.
Yeah. So God, that was when I think I like Andrea's always like, he's Andrea, he's
He's
insane.
freaking.
And he'll normally, like I think the year I got it, I might have flip to maybe I just did 3 flips. Maybe on I think 80, 75 and 60 or something,
Yeah.
Whereas Andrea will normally do a Superman, a flip and a whatever.
Yeah.
So sometimes I feel, oh no, that year I won it because he wasn't there. So he was there, and then I think his dog died. His girlfriend's dog died, so he left early and went home to be with her or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty. That was the biggest. I'd only flipped maybe a 50-footer before that.
Yeah. That was.
But once you can flip a big jump, you can flip a big
Yeah.
jump really. It's
Once you get that rotation.
yeah.
What
once
do
you
you,
slow 'em
what do you
down.
do? Do you try and spot the landing, or because you've obviously done thousands of flips now, so it's flipping a jump is probably
Yes, like the easy trick almost.
yeah.
Yeah, if it's a decent lip.
But you still can. So can you preempt the flip before you hit the jump, or do you still, when you hit you have to spot the landing and then you can gauge?
Yeah, so
there?
so how I got good at them is I for years I was terrible at them, and then I learned no look flips.
Yep.
Or,
So is that when you put your head under your arm?
Yeah. Look through your armpit, and I learnt those, and then that for me I was looking at the landing. I'm right, the landing's there, and I'm this far through my flips, so I need to rotate a bit more or less, whatever. And that's what made me learn how to speed and slow them up and know where I am. And now I don't do them anymore. I just sort of naturally know where I am, and I definitely tilt my head back a lot and know, so I can see the landing as soon as I can. And then obviously you got to pull the right amount, but definitely I can just speed them up and more slow them down is easier than speeding them up. But I just kind of learned how to, from that learning no look, I just learned how to know where I am in the air a lot better. And once there's no reason, I'd flip to 50 and then go loose first 80 or whatever it is, and you're like, sweet, there's no reason why, if there's 100 footer, there's no reason why you can't flip that 120,
Yeah. Well, I guess it's no different to jumping it straight to a certain degree. It's just
to a certain degree, it's almost safe. You look at skiers or boarders, when they're hitting a massive jump, they'll spin it straight away. They don't hit it straight, Say if it's 110 footer, they won't. They'll just, quite often they'll spin it first pop because you've got something going on. Whereas if you're just going dead straight, it's so you can nosedive or.
So I was listening to a podcast with Ryan Sheckler the other day.
Yeah.
And he was saying that if he's got a big stair set or just a big ollie down somewhere, he finds it real hard because the ollie, and then he's in the air and he's got all his thoughts, and he'll mess it up because but if he's doing a kickflip or something, then he's looking at the board, he catches the board, and then the ground's there, and then he's away. But so I see what you mean there.
So he'll go for the kickflip first up quite often.
He didn't say that. They were just comparing there was some gap here. You might have seen the video. It's I think it's called the Walmart gap, and it's from a car lot to car lot. I think, and it's over a fence. It's huge.
Yeah.
And I think he ollied it the first time, but the video is him kickflipping it.
Yeah.
But I think he said it took him ages to ollie it, whereas kickflipping it, he did that he did it relatively quick.
Yeah.
But he was saying that the kickflip's easier because it takes his mind off just floating through the air.
Yeah. Which is the same sort of. I mean, I wouldn't flip something that big first go at all. But it's same principle. It's definitely gives you something to do, and you can't, you're not gonna get that nosedive going on or something. If you're doing it straight, you could start nosediving or whatever. Whereas if you're flipping, Do
you find it easier to control I'll call it the pitch, which is if you're front wheel heavy or back wheel heavy? Do you find it easier if it's a backflip because you're already in that motion?
Yeah.
And then when you're coming round, if you want to speed it up, you can start lifting the front. If you want to bring the front down, you can. So you find it actually easier to control that.
Definitely, yeah. I can, I'm coming around and I'm, over rotating. I'll just grab my back brake and kind of straighten my arms and legs and bar hump a little bit and just straighten my body out, and that'll slow me down. Whereas if you're going to unrotate, you just tuck in as small as you can, and you know, so there's like, whereas like when you're just in a straight jump, if you're starting a nosedive, it's not really.
No, once your legs are like, once you're like front ends down, your legs are as straight as they can be.
Yeah, when you're going, you're going.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
See
where
you
it's
later.
easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But your trick bag's still growing, eh?
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel I'm the most dialed I've ever been, you know, trick wise at the moment. So
I think watching you when we go to Dream or whatever, you definitely all your extensions. I'm terrible with the names of tricks. I don't have a clue, but I don't know. You look so comfortable, and you say you do. What do you think attributes to that? What helps you get your tricks so dialed in off the bike?
I don't know. Like, I mean, I've been doing it, you know, for a long time. Obviously, I'm 30 now, and I've been jumping since I was like, I guess 15 or something. So it's 15 years. It took me a long time to get good. Like, I was a very late bloomer. Like 25 is kind of when I guess I started getting sponsors, which is like, you know, pretty weird, really. You know, like most people are young.
Well, now, but
yeah, maybe not back then, but and so it's been. I reckon something to do with like the slow. It's been a very slow progression for me. I haven't just gone boom.
Yeah.
And so the slow progression has seemed like, to me, it's meant that when I've learned a trick, it's, you know, I've learned it slower and I've got it more dialed in, and I don't know, it just seems to, you know, and I've done them so many times, I guess, that I feel pretty dialed with all the stuff I can do. And yeah.
So what's you got anything you're working on at the moment that you want?
Trick wise, or
yeah. What's next?
Oh,
What have you got?
No, I don't really have any big new things. I've got like tricks that I haven't done on big stuff that I'd like to do on big stuff. Which is like, you know, like I learned last summer flip bar to tuck.
Yeah.
On the trail bike, and I don't really ride dirt jump bikes anymore, so just my trail bike's my the easiest bike to do tricks on. So I learned that on that, and then like, you know, not saying I'm going to, but I wouldn't mind doing it on Dream. It should be easier because you got more time. So you know, it's things like that, or flip no foot cans and stuff. You know, I'd like to just do them on like gnarlier things, I guess.
Well, we've also got the flat drop now.
Yeah.
How's that? But what I saw a video of you, I think it was from Farm Jam, we're doing a flat drop front flip.
Yeah.
Are they ever going to come back?
Nah, so I gave up.
Are they done?
Nah, they're done. I gave up. So I did fronties for a while.
Yeah.
And I just popped my shoulder out a couple of times doing them, and I used to have massive shoulder issues back in the day. So I kind of stopped doing fronties, and I never actually landed a fronty drop to dirt, but I'd never tried one before. I tried it at Farm Jam, but one of a BMXer did it, and I was like, oh yeah, it can't be that bad, and gave it a go and didn't get around. But since then I've like done it to foam pits, so it's actually pretty easy to do it. Like, to get it round, like getting the landing would be a whole different thing because you're obviously coming around with all that force. But no, I've retired from fronties. I retired from
fronties
them, 4 years ago, probably.
Since Dirt Farm.
Yeah, well, since
Farm Jam, sorry.
Yeah, so actually the last one I did was at Highland, at the Claymore Challenge, the slopestyle there, and it was the biggest jump I'd ever done.
Is that in Canada or is that?
New Hampshire.
In
the States.
In the US.
Yeah, Northeast. It was the biggest one I'd tried it on by far, and just I was like, right, got to rotate real slow, and just way too slow.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah. But now going back that drop. I did actually try something on that the other day, and on my e-bike, and just there's not enough flat before the takeoff. It's literally down, and it's like a bike length and a half.
So it's quite immediate.
Yeah, which I mean, it was pretty. This is like something now that I'm a lot more clued into to listen to myself more. But I was saying Emerson was there, and I was like, it's not quite right. I don't think it's big enough, and this and that, and I just tried it anyway.
Yeah.
And I just bailed out straight away. I knew it wasn't going to work. I just didn't have the flat beforehand to prepare.
Yeah.
And jumped off, and I didn't land head first. I landed like it was like leg, elbow, shoulder, and then head. But I like whiplashed my head to the ground and knocked myself pretty. I didn't black out, but I was like, I couldn't remember the day, and I was repeating myself. And I was pretty, as the worst I've ever been head knock wise, and so I learned a valuable lesson that day. Listen to yourself, don't just try it because you want to do it. But so I don't have anything too gnarly I want to learn on that drop anymore, to be honest.
No.
Yeah.
Well, you say that now. I'll give you another 2 years, and you might
Oh yeah. We'll see. Yeah.
Come
Who
back to
knows?
it.
Who knows?
I want to go back to Loose Fest again as well.
Yeah.
So there was, when was it? The start of this season? There was like obviously the controversy with Dark Fest
Yeah.
and Loose Fest. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I don't know.
Do you have any thoughts?
I don't know anything
not
about
bothered?
it, to be honest.
Okay.
I haven't talked to anyone about it. Don't know the underlying factors behind it. And I mean, to me, if you're riding your bike, having fun, who cares?
Yeah.
I reckon Darkfest looks sick to me. So
Yeah.
I mean,
I thought that's
yeah.
kind of, I don't know any of the background, so I'm maybe talking a bit out of place. But the same as that, like, it's just, like with the whole Fest series, they just seem to want to be guys having a jam, doing the thing, not competitive, and it didn't seem like Darkfest seemed terribly competitive. It was just everyone having their fun. And
yeah, it seems pretty similar to me. But I mean, I don't know the underlying factors. So
yeah.
I mean, it looks like Sam and the boys have a good time. So
Yeah,
they have an amazing time actually. So on some pretty sick looking jumps. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as long as we still, because I've not seen anything. So Loose Fest happening now, but I've still not really seen a whole lot of footage from it. Do you think it's almost as they're trying to keep it a bit more under wraps to
I think
to back themselves on the?
I think they've been struggling with a bit of weather this
Oh,
year as
okay.
well. By the look of it, it's
Yeah.
been it sounds like all over Europe has just been pissing down. It's been pretty
Crap.
wet season.
Yeah.
So I mean, you want it when you're riding jumps that big. You don't really want to be.
No, they need to be pretty hard.
Yeah. You want a little bit of that dream track. It was a bit soft, whatever.
Mm.
But I don't know anyone that's.
Well, what's the
come
biggest
off.
one there? Is it 90 or 100? Is it
Oh,
anything 100 there?
I think the jump. There's like a jump that's 80, and I think the step down you can go 100 off it, but it's not actually 100.
So the gap's 80, but where people land is
Well,
probably
the step down gap you can. We sprayed a 100-foot line on it one year and got over it, but it's not actually a 100-foot step down. It's like but I haven't seen anyone crash there and on the big jumps anyway. The last jump you're about to crash on, but
yeah,
you get pretty rolled. But I haven't seen anyone crash on the big jumps and get back up and ride the next day. So it's not the sort of place you want to be riding in subpar conditions.
Well, you're still seeing bikes. What's the bike setup? Because there's a lot of like suspension stuff you have to do.
Just the harder the better, and the slower the better. So super
Oh,
hard,
so
super,
slowing it right down.
super slow, and then I'll probably run like 40 on my tyres, maybe. Some people run.
Oh, really?
Yeah, some people run more. I've run like I was filming up Dream just before winter one year, and I was running 60 to get the speed. So like, and some people probably run 60 at Loose Fest. I mean, I'm a bigger guy, so it's kind of I carry speed quite well, but yeah, definitely hard and slow.
Yeah.
Just so there's no weird, so nothing weird happens off a takeoff, basically.
Mm.
Yeah. Like a lot of people would be, like I've had people jump on my bike when it's still set up for like Loose Fest or something, and they're like,
Damn.
"What the heck?" Yeah, like it's like it does. Yeah, your bike doesn't work basically, but that's how you want. It's kind of weird because you got Loose Fest, but then there's also a bike park there because it's like the biggest.
Where is it?
In Belgium.
Belgium.
Yeah, Fermi-Lebert or something it's called.
Yeah.
But it's like kind of the biggest hill in Belgium almost, or like not quite, but and so full bike park there, and so you're like doing downhill laps during the day, and then you're like 4 o'clock, you're like, oh, we'll ride the jumps, and you're like,
turn it on.
Yeah, but you've been riding downhill with the suspension that doesn't work, and like it's kind of yeah.
It's almost like they need like another sort of bike for it.
Yeah, or you just need to have two bikes, one set up for downhill, one set up for
whatever that is.
Yeah.
Huge dirt jumps.
Yeah.
Well, are the lips kind of like long?
Very long.
Yeah.
Like they're mellow,
Yeah.
Oh, the last one's pretty steep, but like pretty mellow takeoffs. And
Yeah.
they're just like if you were to build a moto jump, they're exactly the same as that basically.
Because people do ride motors as well, when you're riding on the mountain bikes. That's pretty sick.
Yeah. Yeah, BM in there one year, that's pretty sick. He's pretty amazing. And then they've got I forget the guy's name, but he's like Belgium's top like FMX guy. He's like a gnarly dude, man. He's like real like chill, but he's like I think he like races as well and does like big gnarly tricks and like he's real good technically,
Yeah. Oh, that's wicked to see that. Yeah, because you always like you see like big moto jumps and it's cool to see the motos and ride like mountain bikes together on the same thing.
Yeah, trains and yeah. It is cool to be able to do that because like how many places in the world can you do that? Not many. So,
No.
Yeah, something pretty different, which is cool.
Yeah, definitely wanted to see a dirt bike up Dream Track.
Yeah. Jeez, I don't. It might be that. It'd be interesting
I
to
don't
see
know,
that.
yeah.
It's pretty steep.
You need to get
for-
Axel Hodges there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure
Yeah.
they'd be fine, but definitely steep for a.
Yeah, maybe a bit short
Yeah.
because it's not actually that long.
No, so
Yeah.
so Dream, the second one at Dream, which is like the main jump you see stuff on. That's only like 33 foot, and then the one down the bottom, it'll be better for motos and Mallow takeoff. It's 55,
Yeah.
but which isn't like still not huge really. So, yeah.
I'm just gonna quickly check my notes because you got So you're saying what else is coming up? You're doing this photo shoot, but is that just for one of the?
It's just for shits and giggles really. Like saying, so Jay and I at the start of last winter, we just were like, oh, we're not going overseas. We'll go and spend a whole bunch of time just shooting photos, and did it, and came away with like a whole bunch of absolutely amazing photos. We're like, oh, I'll do the same this year.
Yeah. Was that up at Porter's? Or was it...
No, we were in Utah again.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
Utah's a good spot, right?
Yeah. New Zealand, Utah. So Rebecca's actually got a holiday, or her parents got a holiday house there, so that's kind of how I got introduced to that area.
Yeah.
But then so we're going to do that. We'll still do that photo shoot. We're going to go to Naseby though, but we'll just wait till the weather's a little bit nicer.
Yeah.
And then we were going to do it earlier in the season, but I knocked my dome, so we're like, right, I found it real weird because it's like with a broken bone, you kind of know when you're good normally, but whereas with a head, I was like, when am I good?
Yeah,
I feel
it comes
good,
and
but...
goes. I'd like to like some days you can be feeling sweet, next day you feel like you just can't catch up, like you're running in slow motion but everything else is at full speed.
Yeah. And then you're like, oh, why am I feeling bad today? Did I look at my phone too much, or did I, like what did I do wrong? And so press pause on that. But that, and then I've got again when we were filming. So when I going back to the drop when I knocked my dome, we were filming for edit then with Scott, and that put that on pause as well. And now it's being winter, it's been pretty wet, and some things have been shut. I mean, I got some jumps that are in the snow line which I can't do, and stuff. So as soon as it's good enough to do that, I'll crank back into that. And I guess my next event's probably, there'll be some small local races, but next event probably be Craneworks, I guess, November.
Yes, in November. What will you be doing there? Will you do
I don't really know, to be honest.
speed and style?
I wouldn't mind doing speed and style, and obviously do whip off, and
are they doing
maybe
that open
an
invitation
enduro or
for
something.
the slopestyle this year? Would
Nah,
you
I doubt
want to
it.
do that? Or
I've
not open invitation, but are they trying to push for guys to get into that?
Nah, not really. Not unless you do the whole FMB thing and you're qualified. And
okay, so it's still got a bit of a qualifying.
Yeah, for sure. So I don't know how it's going to work with them. Like I know one of my mates, Tom Eisted, they asked him if he wanted to come, but then I think he had to pay for quarantine himself, and then he had to leave straight away because he had like his partner's 30th or something. That he had to be back for. So it's like he wasn't going to stay for a few months really. So it's kind of like he's like, well, it's not worth it for me. And so I don't know how that will work, but I'm sure they'll get the top boys.
Well, one thing I was quite curious to talk about, I guess, with the whole competition side of things, and you're obviously kind of stuck here, not going overseas, but it's the sponsorship side of things for you, because for me, you're one of the best riders in the world. You might feel pretty uncomfortable me saying that, but not necessarily in like one discipline, but over the cross, like over a lot. You can throw your hand to anything, and you do pretty damn well in everything. And then certain things like free ride or loose vest sort of things, you've obviously proven it by winning awards for it as well. But then I feel like if you're in North America, you wouldn't be freaking doing a 44-hour week. How is that for you, if you don't mind me asking?
No, I definitely think you're right there. Like, it's been brought up quite a bit, and people have told me, and that I shouldn't be working and whatever. But I know that I feel that if I lived in Europe or North America, I wouldn't be working. But for me, it's worth. Like, I love New Zealand. I'm very passionate about the country, and I love what I can do here, biking wise and out of biking. It's just I absolutely love it. So I wouldn't have it any other way, and if that means I have to work, that's absolutely fine. And I've been talking to sponsors, and then I would have thought they'd know I was from New Zealand, but I've been talking to them, and then it comes to, they find out your address or where you're from, and they're like, oh, actually no, we wanted someone from Europe or like North America. So definitely,
Yeah.
yeah, it
So
definitely makes it harder. But
why is that? Because surely they'd just want. It doesn't matter where the rider's from. If the rider's got their attention for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And again, in your case, like, you can throw your hand to anything. We've talked in this last hour. We've talked about you racing Mega Avalanche, Rampage, like enduro races, which you want to do more of, loose fests.
Yeah.
What other riders do compete and all that stuff and do pretty damn, like, well, maybe not Mega Avalanche because you ended up over the back of an ice wall, but
when I'm backed up the next year. But.
Yeah, but you do pretty damn well in every discipline you put your hand to, and then what do you think the biggest hurdle is for you with that aspect?
I don't know. I think it, like, as far as like people being like, you're from New Zealand, I think it's, obviously the world's a pretty, it's easy to access anything from anywhere in the world because of social media or whatever, but then you still get, I find, like, if someone from New Zealand's doing well, even if I don't follow them or don't, whatever, don't know them or whatever, I'm like, I want them to do well just because they're from New Zealand,
Yeah.
And so we've only got 5 million people, right? So in the UK, you've got, what, 70 million?
Oh, I got too many.
Yeah, a lot of people. Then there's, obviously not all on the bike, but like, you've got a way bigger group of people that could potentially want you to do well. Whereas, someone might not necessarily be like, oh, I love what Conor's style of riding or whatever. But, if they're like, oh, he's from like, he just lives like 5 hours away from me, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, so I feel like that, sponsors will see that, there's potentially a lot bigger fan base, I guess, maybe. I don't know, but...
Yeah, it's a funny one, especially with social media, is just, you don't have to be in the country, you just look at your laptop or your mobile phone and the person's right there in the palm of your hand.
Yeah.
I don't know, it grates on me.
Yeah.
I feel like you don't have to let it all out if people are going to hear it, but I don't know, that's, for me, I think I'm not going to say you deserve it more than other people, but you definitely deserve it as much as other people, and it drives me nuts.
Yeah, whether or not I deserve it or not, it's I know for myself that I'm not a good businessman, right? Like,
yeah,
I know I got mates that people that are pros that are really good at talking to the sponsors and getting the deals, and like, I just get a deal and they're like, we'll give you this much. I'm like, yeah, that's sick. Whereas I got mates that'll be like, nah, you got to give me an extra, however much.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm like, you're going to give me that?
To ride my bike?
I'm just going to ride my bike and put a few posts up and do some videos and events. I'm like, I'll be doing that well, if I wasn't sponsored, I probably wouldn't do, social media and stuff anyway. But like, well, it's hard. But like, yeah, I kind of feel that I let myself down there. And to me, like, for me, a manager would be great.
You need to talk to Martin Ash. What's his name? Whiteley?
Oh, Martin Whiteley.
Yeah. He's like, he knows all the tricks.
He does. Yeah. Well, Cherrick Rizzulli, he knows everyone. But it's just like I've tried. I've asked a few people if there'd be a manager for me, like, kind of just like friendly, But it's only people that I know, because if I had a manager, I'd want to know them,
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah.
And no one that I've asked has been keen, which is like fine. Like, I know it would help me out because I know I'm not good at that business side, which I know lets me down.
Yeah.
So it's kind of what it is. I'm at peace with being a bad businessman. So.
No, well, you're definitely doing it. You seem to be doing it right, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
you're not going to look back and.
Nah, exactly. Yeah.
The sponsors and things are only temporary, but.
Yeah.
It would be nice to be able to get.
I mean, it'd be great to not have to build, that's for sure. But I mean, I don't, it's part of life. I'm like, whatever, you got to work. I've had it pretty good until COVID. I'd never worked a full year in my life. So my boss is amazing. I can do whatever I want, whenever I want.
Yeah.
I could say tomorrow I'm not turning up. I've got to go shoot some photos. He's like, yes, sweet. So.
Yeah. I can't remember who said it, but there was somebody, and they're like, the biggest thing with all professionals is they would be doing it anyway.
Yeah,
if the
yeah.
sponsor didn't pay them, is it pretty much what you said?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's good to be able to try and
If you can make some money
if
out
you
of
can
it.
make a
and-
bit more,
Yeah.
for however long it'll last.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I reckon I'm, as much as it'd be good to not be working, building houses, it's pretty cool to make money and get free kit out of riding bikes, because, the amount of money I'd have to spend on fixing my bikes, keep them all going. I keep them pretty fresh, so I don't really break too much stuff, but I reckon if I ran a bike for, more than a year, it would probably start being pretty tatty.
Yeah.
So, I'd be spending a lot of money
It's
just to
pretty hard work.
keep it on the road, so...
But
Yeah.
you've taken a pretty big. You got into mountain biking through cross country, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah,
So
kind
it's
of.
kind of a bit of a shift in
Direction, yeah.
direction.
Yeah. So I started out, I just played around in the backyard. So mum and dad we had a couple of acres, and we were allowed to do whatever we wanted on it. Mum and dad bought it for us children to do what we wanted. And I my next door neighbour, Matt Reed, he was into biking and kind of got me into it, and I'd just play around, a bit of pedalling, try to bunny hop and whatever.
Yeah.
And he convinced me to do a cross-country race one day, and did quite well, stuck at it. Pursued that for a couple of years. And
How old were you when you did that?
First year junior was like my most serious year, so that's probably 17.
Yeah.
So probably 16, 17 is when I cross-country.
Okay, so you
full
still
into it.
started mountain biking pretty late then.
Yeah, I
from
guess
the
in the
beginning.
grand scheme.
Yeah.
I used to bike to school and everything, but I wasn't real
Yeah.
into it from a young age
Yeah.
or anything.
Well, I
Was
guess again we're comparing ourselves to people now.
Yeah, you
But, yeah.
see it all online and start young. But I was a rugby and water polo. They were my two things.
Water polo.
Yeah, I used to love it. Oh, it's one of the sickest sports. I think it's great.
How was the horse?
The horse? Oh,
Yeah.
water polo.
Yeah.
No swimming horse, unfortunately.
Oh.
But no, so that took up most of my time, and then
Yeah.
I kind of got to a point where I was like, rugby, or it was like first 15. It was like getting to that age where like first 15's like a thing you could aim towards.
Yeah.
Being in.
What was your position?
Well, I jumped between halfback and fullback.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about that is, when I played weight grade rugby, played for Southland, and I was the tallest guy on the team, and I was the halfback.
Yeah.
Which is, if you know anything about rugby, you know the halfback's normally the shortest guy on the team.
Yeah.
But it was just, I guess I was a stick, so I weighed nothing. I was,
So you got a bit of speed on you as well.
well, I used to anyway. I wasn't like insanely fast, but I wasn't like, definitely wasn't slow. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I should have been. I reckon a flanker though would have been good. I love tackling; it's my favourite thing. But if I could go, live again, maybe I'll be a
Go
flanker.
back.
Yeah, but now, so I got to the point where I was like, do I pursue this cross country thing, or do I go the rugby? And I was actually for 2 weeks, I was like, took up rowing, and I was like, do I go for this? So I had these three things. I was like, what do I go for?
So water polo was out by this point.
Well, it was kind of just on the side.
Yeah,
I just play it on
That
the
was just for
side.
fun.
Yeah. And because all my mates did rowing, so I gave that a crack, and I was like, nah, that's cross country. I just stuck at that for a couple of years and raced away there, and kind of got to a point. Was racing. It was 07 World Champs in Fort William. Raced there.
Oh, really? You went to World Championships as
Yeah.
country? Ah, no.
Yeah, so raced international. Did I only raced 2 international races. Did Oceanias. Got 4th, and then went to Worlds not long after that, and snapped my chain, and had we cry, and that was me, really.
Yeah.
But no, so I got back home. I got back home and I did start training. I had a couple of weeks off, and then started training. I trained for 2 weeks for New Zealand Nationals, and got home one day and I was like, Mum, I'm sick of this. And I stopped. And the reason I was sick of it was because I didn't have enough time, because I jumped the downhill as well.
Yeah.
And I didn't have enough time to do that. Like, I'll be out doing like 100k road ride or whatever. Every Sunday we'll do a 100k plus road ride with like a big group of us. And I'll be out doing that. My mates would be like, yo, can we go round to your backyard and like play in the dirt jumps? I'm like, yeah, sweet as. I'll try to get back, and I get back and they're gone, because we've been away for that many hours.
So you
and
missed out on all like.
I was just like, oh, I'm sick of this, so I just stopped it.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I love cross country racing and I love being that fit.
But you're still pretty damn fit.
I like to think I'm still pretty
Yeah.
fit, but like it's something else when you're that fit and you know, I'd see someone in front of me, I'm like, you know, obviously not at, you know, the world, you know, international level is a bit harder, but like, you know, at any local race, you'd see someone in front of you and you're like, oh, I'm going to catch you, or if someone's like trying to hold on to you, it's like, see you later. You
What
know?
do you how do you feel now when you've got an e-bike? So I was going to say, how do you feel when an e-bike overtakes you? Or is that why you've got an e-bike, to stop that from happening?
No, I just got an e-bike because I reckon they're sick. But no, so my first battle with an e-bike, I was actually biking to work one day in Glenorchy. I just had a physio appointment. I was like, I'll just bike out afterwards because it's something to do. I was biking out.
But how far K is that for people? That's quite far. That's quite 40?
40 Ks maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my trail bike.
Pretty damn far.
So I was just like cruising out and went up the hill after the Fernhill roundabout and got to the top and just like took a few layers off because it was hot. Oh, so up the hill I passed this dude, got to the top, stopped, took a few layers off, and he passed me again. I was like, sweet. I always love something. You know, I'm like, right, I'm going to catch that person in front of me.
Yeah.
As you do. And I kept getting glimpses of him. I'm like, oh, he's right there. And then I'd like go hard and then I just couldn't catch up with him. I was like, what the hell? And I was like, he was like a, you know, overweight, middle-aged man. I'm like, how am I not catching? This is when
no riding posture as well.
They were like quite new. So I didn't even click that it could be an e-bike. And then I finally caught up with him, and I was like, "It's a bloody e-bike!" And thankfully, right when I caught up with him, he turned off.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't have sustained that pace for too much, like, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, I got nothing against e-bikes. I reckon people that hate them are people that haven't tried them, or people that can't afford them. So.
I don't know. I've rode on, and they're cool, but I just enjoy being. I don't care how long it takes me to do my ride.
Yeah.
And I quite
So you
like.
don't mind, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't care at all. Like I went to Glendew and everyone was like, "Oh, it's a e-bike park."
Yeah.
And I was like, it took me just over 3 hours to ride pretty much everything at Glendew.
Yeah.
Plus a bit of a mess around on the bottom trails.
Yeah.
And I had a sick day. If I'd done it on an e-bike,
You'd be done and dusted.
I would have done it an hour and a half. Yeah, and I would have been like,
what do I do now?
Yeah. I loved, but you also, what's sick about e-bikes is uphills.
Yeah, that
uphills is wicked because then it's technical.
Yeah,
whereas going back to Glendew, like if I'd had the e-bike, I wouldn't have looked at the view. I was pedaling up, enjoying the view.
It was pretty epic there.
Yeah, it's real nice when you look down at like treble cone.
Yeah.
If I was on an e-bike, I would have been concentrating so much on the trail.
You would have just gone straight up full drive track.
But I probably wouldn't have even gone up the climb track yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I don't care. Like e-bike, I've got nothing. I hate being overtaken by them.
You're the first cover boy of New Zealand's e-bike magazine.
Yeah. Well, you know how it is.
Yeah,
Just,
forever stamped in history.
Well, see, it's obviously the talent. That yeah. Lucky I can edit that bit out.
Yeah. You can't really tell it's you though, if you didn't know.
Yeah, if you don't know, you don't know it's me.
But unless you read the.
No, I think they're weird. The best thing I think about them is not for me. It's so I can ride with anyone, and they can ride at the same pace.
Yeah.
Where if you go riding with your parents, for example, they can come on the climb with you. They might have to ride down like an easy trail or something, but it's wicked to be able to ride with like your parents again, or just even
100%.
people that aren't. Yeah. Because even when you don't think you're trying, and you're riding with somebody that's not as fit as you, then
they're still straight. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like Rebecca, she rides bikes, but not she's not a mountain biker at all. She'll just ride to work, whatever, and the odd trail ride or XC ride here and there. But we'll be out, like we'll bike up like a full drive track somewhere, to the top of a mountain or whatever, and like she'd never do it on a normal bike. I'll just go with the e-bike and I'll take my normal bike. Yeah. And like we wouldn't go on rides like that together because I don't want to. She doesn't want to do it, and I don't want to go that slow. And so it's like. Yeah, and then the other amazing thing about them is it just gets people on bikes that wouldn't be on bikes, whether they're older or unfit or their knees are shot or, So they get so many people on bikes that...
Yeah. I think for the most part, they're only good, but they're also very good if you, like, for the power to weight. If me and my girlfriend ride them, she's so much lighter than me.
Jeez, the power to weight for her would be
amazing.
amazing.
She's freaking so fast. I hate it because then she can get up so easily and uses no battery.
Yeah.
I have to like go as hard as I can, can't catch her, and I use heaps of battery trying to keep up with her.
Rinse the battery,
that's why we can't get e-bikes because then I can't.
Yeah.
I can't ride as fast as her.
The one thing that I don't like about e-bikes is like tracks that are built in the middle of nowhere that aren't like they're that far in the middle of nowhere that they're not really built to have many people on them.
Yeah.
And then as soon as e-bikes have come about, that track can get rinsed. It can do so many, like from Ben Lomond Saddle down, like I'd ride that like twice a year on a 2 or 3 times a year on a normal bike.
Yeah.
E-bikes, it gets ridden all the time.
Yeah.
Like, because it's so easy to get up there now, and it's kind of not really made to that standard where it's supposed to get heaps of, it's only supposed to get a couple of tyres a day, whereas with an e-bike it can get, heaps of tyres. So that's my one thing. And I mean, maybe I'm generalising here, but a lot of e-bikers aren't the sort of people that do trail build and stuff like that, if you know what I mean. Maybe I'm generalising too much.
No, I don't. I don't think you are.
The older.
But, like, I was just up the hill today and I saw I didn't see who was riding it, but I just saw the e-bikes, and they weren't even like, they weren't full suspension. They were just hardtail e-bikes.
Yeah.
And I was like, these guys are gonna hate riding down this hill because like they wouldn't have been able to get up there if it wasn't for the assist. Yeah. And now they're up there and they've got to get back down. And I was like, well, they're only going to go down the bloody access road, if anything.
Yeah.
So that's also, you need to have. It would be good if you could set up like almost like a little system that cuts out the battery. So
you shouldn't be here.
If you have to level up, I don't know. So if you're a certain grade of rider, then your battery doesn't cut off. You're allowed to keep riding. But if you suck, then your battery gets cut and you can't ride past that.
Just to let you know, it's only gnarly trails past here.
Yeah.
So
You're gonna turn
maybe
around.
You're onto something. I think you might get in trouble for that though. Or like say like if you do that up Skyline, you're like nah. If you've got,
I'll just
you're not allowed to ride past this
I'll
point.
just get my bag of thumbtacks again and throw them on the access road.
Yeah.
But no, I've never thrown thumbtacks down anyway. Don't worry. If you get a puncture, it's not me.
Yeah. Bane of bikers' lives, or punches and derailers.
Yeah, derailers. I can't wait till derailers disappear. Or even if you could mount a derailleur so it wasn't hanging from the lowest part of your bike.
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, I know there's obviously stuff out there, but it's crazy that there's not something that's really taken off that, like, I guess a light gearbox or a light hub, with gears in it, but just nothing's really probably got light enough, I guess, yet to take over derailleurs.
Yeah, you wonder how much money it makes Shimano and Sharan for every time a derailleur gets written off.
Yeah, because I mean, a derailleur must cost like,
it's 100. A derailleur is so expensive,
but like
especially
for
a SRAM
them,
one. Oh yeah,
it must cost them nothing to make. Like when you're making like however many thousand of them. Yeah. It costs you a couple of dollars a trailer probably.
I wouldn't really blame them for that. Not looking into it.
That's a business, isn't it? At the end of the day, so yeah. There is talk about. I was talking to someone about who had a Zero, and they were saying that there's a gearbox, an e-bike gearbox coming out or something, and someone's developing it. Yes, I mean that's potentially because they already weigh a lot. An e-bike motor, so you're just chucking gears in there.
It doesn't matter how much an e-bike weighs, though, because the motor does all the work. Yeah. It gets a bit like sluggish going downhill if it's like, if the weight's in the wrong place on the bike, but if it's all
down low,
everyone's like looking into where the weight.
It's a bit harder to pull up and stuff, but
yeah,
it's all done right. It doesn't really matter the weight. Sometimes I find with like a heavy bike, we see the oranges. There's the oranges, and they put weight on them, like lead on them sometimes to make the suspension work better.
Oh, I think there was just a few people trying that.
I
I think it was Jack Redding did that with his I think he was riding Nikolai. I don't know who he rides now, but I saw a few guys trying that a couple of years ago. Even Santa Cruz did it as well, I think.
Put a bit of weight.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, like, I find with, like, when bikes get too light, they almost, I mean, for XC or pedaling, it's awesome, but, like, as soon as you're, like, in the air, I find if it's too light, like, if it's light, it's nice, but if it's too light, it gets a bit weird and, like,
Yeah.
It's kind of like does stuff you don't want it to do almost.
Just a bit like
whips out too easily or whatever, too twitchy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for just tracking along with the ground, a bit more weights. Alright, but I guess we're probably like heavier.
Yeah.
But if you're a bit lighter person, you probably want a lighter bike anyway, so it's muchness.
Yeah. That's the thing of being a bigger person, it's like we're still riding the same stuff other people are riding. But like theoretically you should have more power and the bike still weighs the same amount, so it should be a bit easier. But better off maybe being big.
No idea. Works for Greg Menard, so.
Yeah.
And it also works for Laurie Greenland, who's tiny.
He's midget. Yeah.
We just hit. Well, actually, we're over an hour and a half now, so we'll probably wrap it up there. What? But yeah, before we go, then, so next edit will probably be more around about Christmas time. Then we'll wait for a bit nicer weather.
Hopefully, well, I guess as soon as spring comes around, so probably like within a month, I'll be able to start getting back into that, and then
so
hopefully
you're going to be filming as soon as possible on that.
Yeah, as soon as the weather's good enough and stuff dries out. Yeah, and then I guess whenever it's for common sale, whenever they want to release it, it'll get released.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and then hopefully start another one straight away after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to do a week in the life. That's my one of my next things I'd like to do. So
Really?
yeah, just I give a bit more of an insight into
You can
what it's
start
actually
vlogging
like.
soon as well.
You know,
You'd love it.
That's the way to make money in biking these days. But I don't know if I can bring myself to.
A week in the life. In a nutshell, what would it look like?
Going to work, riding my bike. Normally I have Monday off. It's my rest day, and then ride my bike pretty much every other day after work, and then maybe a bit of digging here or there. Maybe a film or a photo shoot once every week or two, and then in the weekend, trying to get in the hills or go camping or adventuring, full driving or whatever, and a bit of biking or surfing or just whatever really. It's sort of every week's different, but
Yeah.
being outdoors as much as I can really. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we'll pull up in there. Now we've just clicked over 101 hour 40.
Jeepers.
Time
Time flies.
flies.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for having us.
No, cheers for
Yeah.
letting me do it.
Yeah,
Stoked the weather was shitty, so we could.
Yeah,
Get it
good
in.
excuse to not be out there. So otherwise, I might be. I think digging at the moment's my new evening activity. I've been a bit slack lately, so getting back into it.
Yeah.
Long
Only
day.
digging on.
legal tracks.
Legal
obviously.
trails,
Yeah. More just maintenance, you know.
Yeah. It needs it, especially this time of year.
Yeah.
But no, cheers for that.
Sweet, thank you.